Here now, a lawmaker. He is leading the effort to secure America's secrets. That's Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Senator, all right, so we've got Hunter Biden, who had access to Joe's, top secret classified documents when he was staying at his house. I think I agree with Senator Cruz. Based on his background and his associations, I think it would be prudent to examine his home. You have a trove of documents. Jonathan Turley writes at length about it at the University of Delaware. But the Department of Justice, in a letter to Jim Jordan requesting these documents, says they will not be forthcoming because it would somehow hurt their investigation. Your reaction?
Well, we got a similar letter in the Intelligence Committee. It's a bipartisan letter because it was sent by the chairman, who's a Democrat, Mark Warner, and myself, and their answer is that it would imperil the investigation. It's a silly letter. It's a ridiculous letter. It doesn't even answer the question we asked. This is very straightforward. We are the committee in charge with making sure that our intelligence agencies are doing a good job. Part of their job is to protect classified information from espionage and from putting our country in danger. We know that there are letters and documents and material, the media seems to know more about it than Congress does, that are out there that were not stored properly, they're in his garage or whatever. We want to know what those materials are. The Justice Department possesses them, but the intelligence community knows what they are, and they are refusing to tell us which materials they are. It's not that we're not cleared. We've probably seen some of these documents and materials over the years. They won't tell us which ones they are. So how can we know if there's a risk here? How can we know if any damage has been done and whether the plan to mitigate that damage is sufficient if we don't know what we're talking about? Their refusal to tell us what was exposed is not sustainable. It's not acceptable. And I think you're going to begin to see us take action, I hope and I expect, on a bipartisan basis until they do.
I don't think there's going to be any bipartisan anything with the Democrats. That's my prediction. Now, I want to focus specifically. There are two investigations in the House, in tandem, especially with some of what you're looking for as well. And that would be the House Oversight Committee. That would be Jim Comer also looking into the Biden family, their foreign business dealings, whether or not there was influence peddling, but also the document issue. And then Jim Jordan looking into the FBI and the DOJ. Is the FBI politicized, the DOJ weaponized? It would appear that the DOJ is now taking the position that they are going to stonewall every investigation every step of the way. They'll probably end up taking it to court, and they don't want to be transparent, and they won't be transparent. That's my guess where this is headed. Does Congress have any other means available to it? Can you expedite the legal process?
Well, not just the legal process, but listen, every one of these agencies, their budgets are approved by Congress. They have to be authorized by the committees that have oversight. We have oversight over the FBI's counterintelligence division, and so it gives us an angle on the Department of Justice, and we certainly have oversight over all the agencies who these documents, by the way, belong to. These documents that they have in their possession do not belong to the FBI or the Department of Justice. They belong to the intelligence agencies that authored them, and they should be answering to us. And if they don't, then I think that we're going to have to begin to do some of the things that we can do here in terms of not authorizing, signing off funding, et cetera, until they respond to us.
Otherwise, and I know what they're going to say, though. They're going to say, well, this is impeding an investigation and the special counsel, et cetera.
Right. But it isn't, because I'm not asking for details about their investigation. I simply want to know what the materials are. That's all I want to know. I want to know what the materials are, and I want to know what the intelligence agencies have concluded is the damage that was done from those materials being taken, and I want to know what plan we have to deal with that damage. That is the job of our committee, and that's what we're focused on. The House committees have different jurisdictions. They can go broader. They can go in different areas. Ours is pretty laser focused. We need to know what those documents are so we can make a determination as to whether or not there was damage done and whether the plan we have to mitigate that damage is sufficient. But we can't know that if we don't know what the material is, and their refusal to tell us is unacceptable and unsustainable, and there are going to be consequences, and I hope they'll voluntarily begin to cooperate, or we're going to have to start doing some of that stuff.
Okay, now let's say they don't cooperate. What are the consequences?
Well, and I've said I'm not going to get in the business of threats, but I can tell you what's at our disposal, and it goes beyond just blocking nominees. You know, every authorization, every one of these agencies in the intelligence community, they need a bill. They need us to write laws that authorize them to do this. They can't pass that out of our committee if we don't authorize that. The funding, we can start fencing funding, meaning they won't be able to use money, even if it's appropriated to them by law. They won't be able to move monies around. So they've got nominees, obviously, they bring before us. They're coming to us all the time to reprogram funds, to move money from one part of the budget to another because they need it for some other purpose they didn't anticipate. These are all options at our disposal, and we're going to begin to use them if we don't get answers.
And with the Republican majority in the House, they could defund it until they cooperate. Is that right?
They can defund it, but we in the Senate can even refuse to pass bills that allow them to spend the money even if they got the funding. Because you need two things. You need the money, and then you need the authorization. You need a law that authorizes you to spend the money that way. So it's a two-pronged approach, and we can deny both of them, not just with a House majority, but I think we have enough votes in the Senate to do that until we get answers.